Greetings! Mantaray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. Now, today's video, the deck profile I'm gonna be making one for is a D standard formats, Dragon Empires, Dragonic Overlord the End with cards from D-BT12, Evenfall Onslaught. Alrighty, let's begin. First up, the right deck. And now for the right deck. For the cards in this right deck, we're playing 1 Grade 0 Lizard Runner Undu, 1 Grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar, 1 Grade 2 Dragonic Overlord, and 1 Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord the End. The Grade 0 Lizard Runner Undu, starting unit. Its skill, auto, when this unit is written upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Undu, it's the main starting unit to play in this deck. Just by riding on top of it, with its skill, you can draw a card as long as you're the second to go in the game. The Grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar, its skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is written upon by Dragonic Overlord, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost been paid, search your deck for up to 1 Grade 1 card, reveal it and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto, as a rear guard, once per turn. When your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Bar, it's the main Grade 1 to ride this deck. Its first skill, just by riding Dragonic in the Hollow on top of it, by paying the cost of Counterblast 1, you can search your deck for any Grade 1 for specific card and add to your hand. Then shuffle your deck after. So for this first skill, it's a good way to secure a specific Grade 1 you wish to add to your hand to use later on, like a Perfect Guard or a specific Grade 1 whose skill you can use later in the game. And the second skill, as a rear guard, as long as your Vanguard hits, it gets plus 5,000 powers. So this second skill, Bar can serve as a possible 13,000 point attacker from the front row or 13,000 point booster from the back row. The Grade 2 Dragonic Overlord, its skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is written upon by a unit with Overlord in its card name, call this card to the rear guard circle. Second skill, action, as a rear guard, once per turn. If you have a Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost been paid, this unit and all of your Vanguards get plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Nehalem, it's the main Grade 2 to ride this deck. Its first skill, just by riding a Overlord on top of Nehalem, you'll be able to superior call your Dragonic Nehalem from your soul to the rear guard. Thus, with this first skill, it'll secure yourself a Dragonic Nehalem, your rear guard, whose skill can later be used on your Vanguard Overlord later on. And the second skill, just by soul blasting 1 card, your Vanguard Overlord and Nehalem get power. So with this second skill, it's a good way to not only increase your Vanguard's power, but to also turn your Nehalem into a 15,000 point attacker from the front row. And the best part is this skill is semi-stackable, though not by itself. If you're the type to play multiple Dragonic Nehalems in your deck, as long as you've managed to secure multiple ones in your rear guard and don't mind pinging a Soul Blast 1 for each one, it's possible to at least keep stacking power into your Vanguard Overlord. The Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, the End, skills, first skill, continuous, as a Vanguard. During your turn, if your soul has a Dragonic Overlord, this unit's drive cannot decrease from card effects and it gets plus 5,000 power. And second skill, auto, as a Vanguard, once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, cost, counterblast 1, discard 2 cards from your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord, the End, it's the main Grade 3 to ride this deck. Its first skill, as long as you've got a standard Dragonic Overlord in the soul, it can get plus 5,000 power and cannot have its drive checks reduced during your turn. So for this first skill, it's more like a cross-ride skill from the original series. As long as you either ride the End on top of Dragonic Overlord or have any cards that let you add Dragonic Overlord into your soul after getting the End to your Vanguard, this first skill will more or less make it possible for you to not only have a little extra power to work with, but to also secure 2 drive checks for each of Overlord's attacks. And the second skill, after attacking, regardless of hits or not, as long as you don't mind paying the cost of Counterblast 1, discard 2 cards from hand, you can stand Overlord with a -1 drive. So for the second skill, it's a basic restanding skill for the Dragonic Overlord series. And the best part about this second skill, it's comboable with the first skill. For the first skill, as I mentioned before, as long as Overlord's in the soul, your drive check cannot be reduced. So as long as you've got Overlord in the soul when using this second skill, you will not have to count the -1 drive. So for both of Dragonic Overlord, the end's attacks will have twin drive, thus securing the chance of getting more triggers or to simply restock your hand of more cards. And with that, we just about covered the deck's right deck. And now let's get on to the main deck. And now for the Great One lineup. For the Great Ones of this deck, we are playing 4 Great One, Drag Ritter Hull, 2 Great One, Red Jewel Beast, Garnet, 3 Great One, Twin Buckler Dragon, and 1 Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. The Great One, Drag Ritter Hull. Skills for skill continuous. When this card will be discarded for the cost of your Vanguard of Overlord and its card ability, it may be regarded as discarding 2 cards. Any second skill, auto. When this card is discarded from hand for the cost of your Vanguard of Overlord and its card name ability, you may call this card to the back row rearguard circle. If called, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Halt, a support card for the Overlord series, its skills, the first skill. Whenever your Halt will be discarded for the cost of a Dragonic Overlord's skill ability or cost, it'll be treated as 2 cards. Thus, if you play any Dragonic Overlords that require you to discard more than 1 card from your hand, for example, Dragonic Overlord the End, Halt can cut the cost by treating himself as 2 cards, thus preserving your hand for your later game strategy. Any second skill, which combos with the first skill, when discarded from the hand for the cost of a Dragonic Overlord, you can then superior call Halt from the drop zone to the rear guard to serve as a potential 13,000 point booster from the back row. The Great One, Red Jewel Beast, Garnet. Skill, auto. When this card is placed on the rear guard circle or guardian circle, cost, put a total of 2 cards from soul or drop that were in the right deck into your right deck face up. If the cost and paid, perform one of the following according to the circle this unit is on. Rearguard circle, draw a card. Guardian circle, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Garnet, a pretty good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill. When called to the rearguard circle or used to guard with by paying the cost, you can either draw more cards or to turn your Garnet into a potential 20,000 point shield all on its own. The Great One, Twin Buckler Dragon. Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in a deck. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose from your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So for Twin Buckler Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block an enemy attack. But he also features an ability unique to all D standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Twin Buckler a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. The Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. Skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in a deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in a deck. Third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard is triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Play this at a cost of, discard a card from your hand if your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When played and paying the cost of discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block an enemy attack. But mainly, Elementaria Sanctitude works best against opponents who play decks that specialize in having a Vanguard of triple drive, for example, grade 4s, or Vanguards who have their drive check increased by skill or card effect. Against such opponents, your Elementaria Sanctitude then can serve as a potential no-cost perfect guard. And if that, which is about cover the deck's Great One lineup, next let's get on with the Grade 2 lineup. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 2 Ardor Hatchet Dragon, 4 Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon, and 4 Grade 2 Steel Bull of Duststorm Ethan. The Grade 2 Ardor Hatchet Dragon, skills for skill continuous as a guardian. If your soul has a card with Overlord in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. Second skill, action as a rear guard. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, choose a Grade 3 card with Overlord in its card name from your drop and put it into your soul. So for Ardor Hatchet Dragon, a support card for the Overlord series, it scales the first skill. As long as the conditions of the first skill are met, your Ardor Hatchet Dragon can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield all on its own. Second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met and you pay the cost, you can move any Grade 3 Overlord from your drop zone to your soul, giving you either the option to get more cards to Soul Blast with, or to fulfill the conditions for Dragonic Overlord, the end skill of requiring a basic Dragonic Overlord in its soul. The Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon, skills for skill auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, cost counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with Overlord in its card name, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you do not reveal a card, countercharge 1. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard of Overlord in its card name attacks, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Horn Dragon, another support card for the Overlord series, it scales the first skill. Just by calling Burning Horn to the rear guard and paying the cost, you have the chance to search the top cards in your deck for an Overlord to add to your hand to help you in your later game strategy for either riding, calling, or in any other purpose you wish to have an Overlord in your hand for. And the best part is, this first skill is refundable. In the off chance you fail to get any cards of the first skill, you can countercharge 1, thus refunding the counterblast you used to pay for the first skill. Any second skill, whenever your Vanguard Overlord attacks while you have Burning Horn in your rear guard, your Burning Horn gets plus 5,000 power. So this second skill makes your Burning Horn a powerful front row attacker to have for the Overlord series. And the best part is, this second skill is stackable. For the Dragonic Overlord series, specializes in restanding and attacking multiple times your Vanguard. In that event, for the more times your Vanguard Overlord attacks, you can continue to add more power to your Burning Horn, giving you a powerful front row rear guard to help you either pressure or finish off your opponent with. The Grade 2 Steel Bull of Duststorm Ethan, skill auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard's attack hits, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, draw a card and countercharge 1. So for Ethan, a pretty good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill, as long as you've got Ethan in the rear guard while your Vanguard lands a successful attack on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard. By paying the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards, but you can also refund your counterblast for later skills. In my opinion, this card is a superior card to have over the Great One Dragon Monk Gojo, for unlike Dragon Monk Gojo, whose skill can only be activated when boosting a successful attack from the Vanguard, Ethan simply needs to be on your rear guard to have its skill activated. And unlike Gojo, who only can let you countercharge 1, Ethan can also let you draw as well, thus making, in my opinion, Ethan a more superior countercharger to have in your Overlord decks over Dragon Monk Gojo. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's Grade 3 lineup. And now for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, 3 Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, The End, and 1 Grade 3 Normal Order Gradia Greydale. The Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard or rear guard. During the battle this unit attacked a rear guard, your opponent cannot call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard once per turn. When this unit attack hits, cost, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord, it's one of the main Grade 3s to play in this deck. Its skills, the first skill. For the first skill, as either a Vanguard or rear guard, whenever you choose to attack an opponent's rear guard of Dragonic Overlord, your opponent cannot guard the attack with their cards from their hand, thus giving you a almost certain guaranteed attack to help you land against an opponent's rear guard. and a second skill. As long as the conditions of the second skill are met and you pay the cost, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. The grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, the end. Since we already explained this card's abilities and effects during the ride deck portion of the video, we're going to skip ahead to the next card. The grade 3 Normal Order Gradia Greydale. Regulus piece. You may only have one Regulus piece in your deck and use it a total of 1 time in a fight. Skill. Play this if you have a grade 3 Vanguard of Persona Ride, and if you did not ride this turn, activate Persona Ride, draw a card. All of your front row units gets plus 10,000 power this turn, and you are regarded to have Persona Ride. So for Gradia Greydale, a pretty good card to play in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game D standard format. For in the event you did not ride, and if you meet the conditions of the skill, you can initiate the Persona Ride, thus giving you more cards in your hand and more power in your entire front row, thus increasing your offensive and potentially defensive options for your later game. And of that, which is what covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on to the trigger lineup. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 0, Dragon DD King of Resurgence, Drag Vita, over trigger. 4. Grade 0, Burning Flail Dragon, critical trigger. 4. Grade 0, Blaze War Monk Sokyo, critical trigger. 3. Grade 0, Flare Veil Dragon, draw trigger. 2. Grade 0, Stealth Fiend Amavira, heal trigger. And 2. Grade 0, Cure Flare Draco Kid, heal trigger. The Grade 0, Dragon DD King of Resurgence, Drag Vita, over trigger, skill, trigger, additional effect, choose one of your Vanguards and stand it. So for Drag Vita, it's the over trigger for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you can give your unit on your field plus 100 million power and draw 1 card. But it also features an ability unique to him alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack, thus giving you another Vanguard attack to either help you pressure or finish off your opponent, or to simply drive check more cards to increase the chances of either getting a trigger or to simply restock your hand. The Grade 0, Burning Flail Dragon, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Flail Dragon, a powerful critical trigger to have in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with skill. After boosting an attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Burning Flail from your rear guard to your soul, you not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but you can also give a remaining attack on your field, Vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. The Grade 0, Flare Veil Dragon, crit draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Flare Veil, a pretty powerful draw trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with skill. When used to guard with, while the conditions of its skill are met, your Flare Veil then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. The Grade 0, Stealth Fiend Amavira, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Active if this battle is a second attack this turn or more. So for Amavira, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with a skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Amavira then can serve as a potential 25,000 point shield all on her own. Ideally, Amavira is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding and attacking multiple times with their units, their Vanguard or rear guard. And the Grade 0, Cure Flare Draco Kid, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater, and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cure Flare Draco Kid, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Cure Flare then can serve as a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. Ideally, Cure Flare is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical Vanguard or Rearguard by skill or card effect. And if that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 1 over trigger, Drag Vita, 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And if that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. And now, after having just explained the deck's build and card effects, next let's get on to explaining the deck's main playstyle. So for the main playstyle of this deck, first you just normally ride from your ride line from grade 0 to 3. Then when you're into grade 3, Dragonic Overlord at the end, try to secure in your hand at least 1 Garnet and 1 Burning Horn, using their skills to draw more cards or to search your deck for an Overlord. Help using Garnet skills may make it easier for you to get an Ardor Hatchet Dragon, and Burning Horn skill to help you get a Dragonic Overlord to Classic. Then when the conditions are met, you can use Ardor Hatchet skill to move a Dragonic Overlord from your drop zone to your soul, thus enabling you to not have to wait an extra turn to cross ride to take full advantage of Dragonic Overlord the end skills. And so that's pretty much the main playstyle. First, you just ride to grade 3, Dragonic Overlord the ends, make use of Garnet and Burning Horn skills to make it easier to get either or both of Ardor Hatchet Dragon or Dragonic Overlord. Then using their skills to skip the cross ride and give your Dragonic Overlord the end the ability to make full use of all of its skills and power and effects. And if that, which is about cover the deck's main playstyle. And of that, that's just all the time we have for today. First I want to say is, thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. And I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And of that I say, goodbye and see you all soon.